Hi friends, welcome back to Nurse's Nook and Corner. Come, it's time to know. Let's see today about the basic anatomy and physiology in nervous system. If you didn't subscribe the channel, don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon to get the uploaded videos. First, let's see about introduction of nervous system. The nervous system is made up of vast neural networks of cells called neurons that coordinate action and transmit signals between different parts of the body. It also helps to enable thinking, language, feeling, learning, memory, and all function and sensation within the body. Now, let's see about the functional unit of nervous system, that is the neurons. The neuron is the extensive network of specialized cells that are central to the functioning of nervous system. The parts of neurons are dendrites, axon, and a cell body. The cell body contains the nucleus and surrounding cytoplasm. It is the focus of cells, metabolic processes, housing the mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, and peroxisomes. The dendrites are neuronal process that tapper information from the cell body outwards. They produce many branches and transmit information towards the cell body from synapses on the dendritic tree. That is, it takes towards the cell body. There is only one axon per neuron that originates at the axon hillock, conducting information away from the cell body towards the nerve terminal and synapses. Therefore, the axon carry away the information away from the cell body and dendrites carry information towards the cell body. Now let's see about the nervous system classification. So this is the flow chart of nervous system classification, and nervous system is classified as central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system contains brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system contains the motor neurons and sensory neurons. Further, the motor neurons contain the somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Further, autonomic nervous system is classified as sympathetic division and parasympathetic division. Let's see in detail. First, let's see about central nervous system, which is further classified as brain and spinal cord. First, in brain, the brain is divided into four main parts: brainstem, cerebellum, diencephalon, and cerebral hemispheres. The spinal cord is the caudal extension of the central nervous system, that is, it is the continuation of medulla oblongata. Next, let's see about the cerebral cortex. The cerebrum consists of two cerebral hemispheres which are connected by corpus callosum, and it facilitates communication between both sides of the brain. The hemispheres are then further divided into four lobes: occipital, parietal, temporal, and frontal. The outer layer of cerebral hemisphere is termed as cerebral cortex. This is interconnected via pathways that run subcortically. It is these connections, as well as the connections from the cerebral cortex to the brainstem, spinal cord, and nuclei deep within the cerebral hemisphere, that form the white matter of cerebral hemisphere. The deep nuclei structures such as basal ganglia and thalamus. Meninges. The central nervous system is enclosed within the skull and the vertebral column. These structures are separated by a series of membranes known as meninges. The pia mater is separated from the delicate arachnoid membrane by a subarachnoid space, which is then in turn separated from dura mater by subdural space. Neuroglial cells, also called as glial cells or neuralgia, are non-neuronal cells in the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system that do not produce electrical impulses. They maintain homeostasis from myelin. They maintain homeostasis, form myelin, and provide support and protection for neurons. In the central nervous system, glial cells include astrocytes, oligodendrocytes, ependymal cells, and microglial cells. In the peripheral nervous system, glial cells include Schwann cells and satellite cells. Next, let's see about hypothalamus. Hypothalamus lies on either side of the third ventricle, that is below the thalamus and between the optic chiasma and midbrain. With the help of inputs of autonomic nervous system, it helps to maintain homeostasis of many physiological systems such as hunger, thirst, water and sodium balance, and temperature regulation. It also plays a role in memory and emotional response, providing autonomic and endocrine responses. Now let's see about blood supply to central nervous system. The central nervous system blood supply forms the circle of Willis. The arterial blood supply to brain comes from four vessels, that is right and left internal carotid arteries, right and left vertebral arteries, basilar artery, and posterior cerebral arteries. Basilar artery. This has a number of branches, that is anterior and inferior cerebral artery, artery to labyrinth, pontine branches, and superior cerebellar artery. Posterior cerebral arteries. These supply blood to posterior parietal cortex, occipital lobe, and inferior temporal lobe. There are several branches of this artery that supply the midbrain, thalamus, subthalamus, posterior internal capsule, optic radiation, and cerebral peduncle. Now let's see about the venous drainage. Venous drainage of the brainstem and cerebellum is straight into the dural venous sinuses, which are adjacent to the posterior cranial fossa. The cerebral hemispheres have external and internal veins. External veins drain the cortex and drain into transverse sinus. This then drains into lateral sinus and empties into interjugular vein. Internal cerebral veins drain the deep structures of cerebral hemisphere into great vein of Galen and then into sinus. If occlusion of either of these venous system, then there will be an increased intracranial pressure. Let's see about blood supply to the spinal cord. The spinal cord is supplied by a single anterior spinal artery and paired posterior spinal arteries. Anterior spinal artery arises from vertebral arteries and extend from the level of lower brainstem to the tip of conus medullaris. It supplies the ventral medial surface of the medulla and anterior two-thirds of the spinal cord. The posterior spinal arteries supply the dorsal one-third of the cord. There are reinforcing branches from other arteries along the length of the cord. If occlusion occurs, it is normally of anterior spinal artery, producing loss of power and spinothalamic sensory deficit, but dorsal column sensory capabilities are maintained. Peripheral nervous system. The peripheral nervous system consists of nerve trunks that are formed from both afferent axons, which conduct sensory information to the spinal cord, and efferent fibers, which transmit impulses primarily to muscles. If a particular nerve is damaged, there is resulting weakness to the muscle it supplies as well as sensory loss from the region it conveys information. Next is the somatic nervous system. The somatic nervous system is made of nerves that are connected to skin, muscles, and sensory organs such as eyes, ear, nose, skin, etc. The somatic nervous system or voluntary nervous system is concerned with reaction to external stimulation. This system is under conscious control and is responsible for skeletal muscle contraction by way of 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Finally, let's see about the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system main role is to innervate the internal and glandular organs. The function of autonomic nervous system include the regulation of circulation, respiration, metabolism, secretion, body temperature and reproduction. The autonomic nervous system is divided into two divisions. One is sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic is preganglionic neurons found in lateral horn of spinal cord from upper thoracic to mid lumbar cord, that is T1 to L3. Postganglionic cell bodies found in vertebral and prevertebral ganglia. This uses noradrenaline as postganglionic transmitter, whereas parasympathetic is a preganglionic neurons have cell bodies in the brainstem and sacrum. Postganglionic cell bodies are found adjacent to or within the walls of the organ they supply. This uses acetylcholine as postganglionic transmitter. The next video is about the common investigation in nervous system. Thank you friends. Keep watching and supporting. If you didn't subscribe the channel, don't forget to subscribe the channel. Follow us in Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter as well as in YouTube. If you like the video, press the like icon and share it to your friends. Thank you.